Hi, it's Sandy Parker, and welcome to Crafting for Almost Everyone. Today we're going to make a really great Christmas gift or birthday gift, really any kind of gift. It's a purse that is made out of cardstock and cardboard, and it holds cards inside the purse. It's adorable. I hope you'll stay tuned. My friend Sherry sent me this. She makes these all the time, and I just thought I'd show you one picture that she included because she won first prize in her county fair. Hold on, these are all her notes. See this? She won first prize in her county fair with this purse, and so she sent me one and to use as my own template. Plus she sent me step-by-step instructions, and you have to love anybody that sends that many detailed instructions. It's fabulous. So we're going to make it today. She also sent me graphic 45 paper. Now this outside compartment is made so that you can put your stamps in it. Then it has a magnetic closure here. I put the ribbon on, and then in the inside it has two different pockets for cards, and she put the cards inside. And then when you close it up, you can carry it just like that. And there you have it. Isn't it adorable? I thought it was so cute. So I love the color she chose, and I love the whole idea of making something so pretty and yet so useful, and I thought we would give it a shot today. I have all the things, well, most of them already cut out. One part that you're going to have a template for is this, and this is the part that is the outside of the purse, and it needs to be done in lightweight chipboard, mat board, or cardboard. And hers is really a heavy-duty, I thought it was heavy-duty cardboard, and I'm going to tap it so you can hear how hard it is. I mean, this isn't thin. I don't know if you can see how thick it is in there, but it's a nice thick cardboard, and so I wanted to use something similar. And in order to do that, you're going to have to photocopy these. Now I'm going to put a link down below so you can print this out in your printer, but this is the only piece you actually need to print out, because what you're going to do is, this is what I did. I printed it out, and then on my back of my cardstock, hopefully you can see this. Can you see this pencil mark? Hopefully you can. There's one in the front and the top and the bottom of this. I'm going to have to cut those out, but I wanted to talk about how we're going to do this on the cardboard first. Now the cardboard part is cool because mine is black on one side and white on the other, so I can use my black side. See? I can use that. Instead of having to line it with black paper, I'm good to go. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to get your cardboard, you're going to cut your pattern out, and you're going to take it and you're going to lay it down and make sure the bottom, I hope you can see the bottom. Hold on, I got to get some things out of the way here. Hopefully you can see this bottom edge. You're going to line it up so that it's even on the bottom. Hopefully you can see that. Then you're going to hold it down or tape it down, but you're going to want to take your pencil and outline it. It doesn't matter if you draw on it. Okay, so that's what one of them looks like. Then I'm going to turn it around, and I'm going to do the same thing on this side. And I tried to get mine, now this is kind of wonky on this bottom, so I'm going to take it, move mine up a little bit, and now I'll have to trace the bottom. On the other one I didn't have to trace the bottom because clearly if you can line it up on the bottom edge you're good to go, but I couldn't do that because on this one, because the bottom edge of my cardboard is weird. So this is what this one looks like, and I have some rough areas and I don't really care about those. A company called Mulwork contacted me and said, would you like it if we gave you to try our craft knife? We'll give you this, and we want to give an 80% discount to your viewers. And you know how I am when anybody tells me they're going to give me a discount for all of you, I'm thrilled. Plus, to let me try out something like this is even better. And while they were at it, they said, we'll give you our industrial knife you know, the utility knife, 2. And these are really heavy duty. These are not kids' toys. These are really heavy duty toys for us. They're not really toys, but I'm calling toys for us. Anyway, one of them is roughly $16 and the other one is roughly $15, but they're going to give you 80% off. So if you bought them, I think it's this one that's $3.20 and this one is $3. So, I mean, come on, you can't buy a crappy one for that price. And if you look at the craft knife, you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 blades and 3 different handles. I was like, this is the greatest. And then it comes on this magnetic piece, which I really love. So I thought what we would do is try them out today, see if I like them, so we can talk about it in detail and decide if it's something you guys want to invest in or not. But I wanted you to see me try it. As always, I make 0 money from this. It was just them giving me this, which made me thrilled. And then the 80% that they're giving you off the price is terrific. And I'll make sure there's links below, and I'll have Rich put a link like right here so you have it, so that you can write it down. But it will be in the information below. As always, I try to make sure that there's complete information at the bottom. I'm going to use this kitchen cutting mat from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to be using, I thought I would start with the X-Acto knives. I call these demon sticks, and if you don't know this story, when I was a sophomore in college, one of the freshmen that lived on my floor was an art major, and she called to me in the afternoon and said, could you come in here for a second? And you could tell by the tone of her voice that something was amiss. And I went in, and she was holding her thumb, and she pointed to her X-Acto knife and said, I had a little mishap. And I said, let's go to the restroom. So we went down to the restroom, and she let go of her thumb, and you could see the bone. I was like, I think we need to go to the hospital. So anyway, that's why I renamed that a demon stick, not because I am particularly scared of them, but because of what happened when I was in college. And I thought I would try this one first, just to see if this handle works best for me. Although I do think the middle size handle might be more something I can use. Now, if you're someone who has normal hand, wrist strength, you probably will like the regular size one. This is your basic size that an X-Acto knife comes in. This is a bigger size, and it's for me, I think it's the right size for my hand. But I do want to try this one so that we can have an idea of which one works best for me. And maybe you can cut this out with a knife or some other tool, but I do think that this is the best tool for something like this, because we want to have a really accurate cut if we can get it. And I'm also going to use that utility knife on it, because we want to see if that works too. Now, I'm not pushing all the way through because this is very thick, as I said before, so we want to make sure that you're going to do it in like 2 or 3 swipes. And try and hit the lines. Don't do as I do. Do as I say. Because, you know, the chances of me hitting the lines is not going to be good. And I'm not trying to cut the corners yet. I'm only trying to cut straight across the top. This really does cut nice. I think it went all the way through part of it. Nice. I'm just making sure now that we're all the way through. And we are. How lucky. I'm going to switch from this blade. I like the handle on it, but it felt a little bit big for me, so I'm going to go to this one and see how it works. I know when I do anything like this, you guys all worry that I'm going to cut myself, but you know, if I do, you won't see the blood or any telltale evidence of what I've done to myself, because it would be embarrassing if I had to admit that I actually did end up in the hospital over my X-Acto knife. These really cut smoothly though. I mean, I am really impressed with the way they cut. I have to be honest, I really like this one, for me, much better than the other one, because it's a lot easier for me to hold. And you know, everybody's going to have their own size preference in a handle. And of course you have all these blade choices for $3. I mean, come on. I just couldn't believe it when they told me how much they were going to give this to you guys for. It just made me really happy. And I'm not trying to sell you on them. I just am impressed that they would be willing to give us that price. It was really nice of them. And I'm gonna have to do a little bit of corner rounding on that piece, because I had a little issue with that, cutting it. It wasn't the blade's fault, it was more I just couldn't, I don't know what I was doing. I just was not paying attention, I think it was more the problem. I just want to kind of pop it out if I can. That was easy, wasn't it? And don't forget, you're going to be covering this with designer series paper, or in my case I'm using graphic 45 paper that's designer, you know, it's decorated paper, so it's not like I'm going to have any trouble hiding the pencil marks, because it's the exact same size as this. I already cut that out. At least I think I did. It's all blur now. Now I'm going to take this utility knife, and we're just going to see if the utility knife cuts easy. It's very heavy. I'm not lying when I say very heavy. I don't think I could use this for any length of time because it is super, super heavy. But it's, you know, it's really quality. And then they give you all of these extra blades, and I think this is the one that's $3.20. I might be having it backwards, but I'm pretty sure that's how it is price-wise. And then it has the ability, obviously, to move the blade in and out, but it also has this little knob that you can tighten it so that it won't go back in, and I like that too. And so we'll give this a whirl. I'm trying to get it so it lines up with the way that to be honest, even though this is heavier than the other one, it was a lot easier for me to pull toward me, maybe because I used this, I mean the blade in it is so, oops, I cut in there a little bit where I didn't want to go, because the blade is a little bit thicker. If I'd used the other blade, you know, from this set, if I'd used one of these thicker blades, I probably would have had the same results, but that, okay, it cut like butter. I'm not even kidding, that was simple. I was really surprised by that, so I'm just sharing that with you. I'm going to go down this side. I really like it that companies are willing to let us test out products, because I don't know about all of you, but if you have any hand or wrist issues, there's so many products that you buy that you can't use after you get them home, and it's so frustrating, at least it is for me, when I find that I've bought something that I can't use. So I'll just say that I'm thrilled that all these companies are letting us try out products so we know if we can use them, and then giving you great discounts too. That makes me really happy. And that's the last I'm going to rant about this, but I'm really excited about that because it's really super nice of them. And then I got to do these corners. I didn't know if this blade would go around a corner easily, but of course it did. That was easy. Let's see. My black paper's kind of, I wouldn't buy that. I didn't buy this cardboard. I don't even know where I got it from, but I wouldn't buy that with the paper on the outside again, just in case you wondered. And then I'm pulling that back in. Super product. I love it. I'm not lying. Of course it was heavy, but sometimes the sacrifice of heavy for that kind of cutting ability is worth it. At least it is to me. So anyway, that's our scoop on that, and I'm ready for us to get serious about our project. So let's go over all the papers that we need so we're sure we have everything in place. The first thing we're going to need is we're going to need a piece of black cardstock that is 4 inches by 2 inches. Don't forget, I always write all this information on the bottom where it says more information. and we're going to have to score this one. We're scoring it at 1.5 inches. I want to make sure I'm right about that. Yeah. We're going to score it at 1.5 inches, and then I'm going to turn it around and score it at 1.5 inches. So that's our top flap, and we're going to need a magnet for under that, or you're going to need little pieces of Velcro, but I'm going to put this back where I had it. You're going to need a piece of the decorator paper that's 1 3/4 inch across and 1 1/4 inches tall, and then that'll go like this. You'll need 2 of those, 1 3/4 by 1 1/4, and then you'll need a piece that's 1 3/4 inches wide by 3/4 of an inch, and that'll go across the top. So that's what that paper is going to look like once it's done. We're just gonna do that for right now because we still have to do our distressing on the edges. Then this is going to be the front pocket. It needs to be a 4-inch it's going to be 4 inches across by 6-inch tall piece of paper, and we're going to score it on the 6-inch side at 2 inches, and then I think the next one is 2.5 inches. I want to make sure, I don't want to get this wrong. Yeah, 2.5 inches. So our first one's at 2, then the next one would be at 4.5. And then you're going to need pieces of paper for on it, and you're only going to need 2. You're going to need a 3.5 inch wide by 1 3/4 inch piece, and that will go on this big section down here. Then this section is going to be the inside. Actually, it's kind of going to go like this, and then it'll be like this. And then we'll have this piece that's 3.5 inches by 1 3/4 inches, and that'll be our front pocket. You'll see more information. Actually, I gotta fold that down. It'll go like this in the end because I'm just forgetting to fold things the way I should for a pocket. So that's what the front will look like. Then our next piece, and these are for the inner pockets. These have a bunch of scores on them. You're going to need 2 of these that are 8 inches long by 3.5 inches across. And these are going to be our inner pockets, as I said. You're going to score it at 1/2 inch and 1 inch. You're going to turn it around, score it at 1/2 inch and 1 inch. Now the very bottom, well, or whatever you choose, you're going to do the same. 1/2 inch and 1 inch. And that's going to make our, oops, I have 2 of those. I forgot I had 2 of those. 1/2 and 1. So that's those. Then we're going to have a piece of designer series paper on that. I know I always call it that. It's just decorated paper, but that's what they call it on Stampin' Up! And that's who I first learned how to do things with, so I apologize that I use that terminology. Anyway, your designer paper, your decorator paper is going to be 2 inches high by 5 3/4 inches, and it's going to go right like that. And you're going to need 2 of those, like that. Then, when you make a pocket, I don't know if you've ever made pockets before, but you're going to do all your folds. You have to make sure it folds like this. You see that? It's like a backwards C. I'm going to fold this. And then you have the same on this side. Now let's do our cutting on this one. So we remember what we did. We cut off both of the second ones in. We're going to cut both of those off. And the very bottom one on the end. And that's all. And then you're going to do the same on the other side. Both of the second ones up to the score line. And then, okay, I'm going to put tear tape on the bottom of this, and let's see, I'm going to put two little pieces on the bottom on that one little flap that we left in place. I'm going to put that tear tape there. Then I wasn't exactly sure how far I should do it on the top of it, but instead what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some on the very bottom flap, like that. Ugh, I got stuff everywhere. Okay, so I'm going to put some right there. And then I'll put another piece right beside that. And then I'm going to put a little bit on this one. Right there and right there. So at this point, you should have tear tape on the bottom of this weird little flap that we left on both sides, and then right beside it, you should have a little bit on the bottom. So I'll take off these pieces. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to fold in our two folds like that. And then we're going to hold this piece straight up like that so that we can create like a box. And then we're going to put that piece in place. So once again, you're going to turn this in and hold the bottom. Then you're going to pull the side up to meet it, and then you're going to lay that piece down. Now once you attach this inside your container, it'll be fine, but for now, make sure that's right. But for now, I just wanted to make sure that that everything on our little pocket is in place. So now we're going to just put some tear tape on the back of this just to be ready to put it in our box. And I'm going to put 2 rows of it. If you had 1/2 inch, it would really be handy, but I only have 1/4 inch tear tape, because you really want to make sure this is well adhered, because this box, or this little pocket, is going to be the thing that you're going to put all your cards in, and you don't want it to be loose. Make sure your ends are well adhered. Let me take a little bit off the ends here of the tear tape. Then I'm going to do 2 rows on the sides. Just to make sure that our box looks good and stays where we want it to. The most important part, is it going to stay where we want it? I hope so. So that's what is going to hold it in place, and then I'll decorate it after I could put it on. I guess I'll just stick it on now, right? If you use wet glue, you can use wet glue, or you can use an ATG gun. You could do whatever you want, but if you use wet glue, there's a chance that your paper will pucker and your pockets will pucker. So I'm just going to forewarn you that I really recommend use some kind of dry adhesive that's, like a tape of some kind, because you'll feel a lot better about the security of your project. It'll stay in place and you won't have to worry about it coming off. If you really, you're treating this like something that you're going to use for a long time. The other thing I will tell you, and this is important for me, I like to use a little bit of wet glue. Not a lot of wet glue, but I like to use a little bit of wet glue when I'm doing this, because it gives you a little bit of wiggle room in case you adhere this in the wrong place or it's crooked and you have to do something about it. This will give you the opportunity to do that. And I'm going to use my bottom as my guide, and hopefully that's pretty straight. I probably should have distressed that before I put it on because I forgot to. So we're going to have to do that now. Well, let's do it on this one first. And I only want to do the very edge. And I mean the very edge. I'm not talking in a half an inch. I'm talking a teeny, teeny, teeny edge. So I'll show you what I mean. Hopefully you can see. I'm only doing that very edge like that. You could use like a lighter color, and then that way you wouldn't worry about it as much, but I don't like putting a ton of this on, so we're going to just try and do the very edge if we can. It's more than I want. That's more distressing than I really wanted, so let's see if we can just get the edge of this one. Okay, so there is that pocket, and I might decorate that with something else because it is kind of big. I decided I wanted to put a little bit more decoration on my pockets, my boxes that go on the inside, and so I cut out some of these birds. They're from a set called Botanical Tea, I'm pretty sure. I put tear tape on the back of them so that they would adhere. I like that idea. I thought they were kind of fun. And I have another set of them so we can have both matching. Well, kind of matching. Just want to make sure they're really well adhered. Okay, now we're on to our other projects. You have to cut a piece of cardstock that matches everything, 6 inches by 1 inch. I think I forgot to tell you that at the beginning. And then you have to have a bunch of these little pieces. And these are, let me tell you how many of these we need. You need, in the black pieces, you need 4 that are 1.5 inches long by 1 inch across. And then you need 4 of these that are 1.25 inch long and 3/4 inch across. And I rounded the bottoms, not the tops, just the bottoms of most of them. I have one left so you could see it. I wanted to make sure you saw what it looked like. So I'm not going to tell you the name of it because I can't pronounce it. And I'm using this small. This is one of the reasons I like this so much, because it has a small, medium, and a large rounding. So if you want something to be bigger rounded, then you have it. So those are ready to go. We need 4 of each of them. And then I cut out some more of these little stamps that I'm going to decorate with, but I just have them out for now. Then we have this piece. This is my closure, so you're going to have pieces that are attached to that. And I did put the backing on it, but I wanted to make sure. See, this is what it looks like. Hold on, and there's the front of it. See, this is the front, the top, and the back. So I want to make sure that I round the corners that need to be rounded, and in this case, the bottom ones need to be rounded on the front. So I'm going to do that. And then on the back, the bottom's rounded, and then the other piece in the middle isn't rounded at all. Now, we have to make sure, this is the one thing that we have to really be careful of, because this is the one that we're going to be using to put our closure on. So we have to be sure that we put under some of this, we have to put our little magnets. And I don't want to screw that up, and I know I'll forget, so I'm just trying to remind myself to do that. And the other thing I like to do is, when I do this distressing, if I round the corner, I kind of like to make the distressing curve around that corner. So these 2 pieces have the curving on it, and one of those is what we're going to put some of our teeny tiny pieces on. So I'm going to take the backing off this, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get everything ready to go so that when we're putting it all together, that it's just going to be a matter of gluing everything in place. So, you know, as each piece is kind of getting ready to go, I'm making sure that it's glued in place and that there's a lot of glue if it needs a lot of glue. Like in this top piece, I want to have a lot of glue because it could be one of those ones that you don't get, you get a lot of movement on this piece because it's, you know, it's on the top, so it's going to move a lot, so you really want to have a lot of adhesive on that particular piece. Now I'm going to adhere the back piece, but not the front piece until I get my magnets in place, because you know the rule, you got to have your magnets. I'm just trying to figure out which one I put the right amount of adhesive on. And as I said, a little bit of wet glue for your wiggle room. And sometimes if you do this from the side, you have a better idea of where everything is. And then this is where our front piece goes. So what we're going to do is I'm going to take the backing off, and we're going to put I'm putting 2 magnets on because my magnets are so small. One on that side and one like there. Okay, so those are my 2 magnets. That's better. And then let's see if I can. What I want to do just for the time being is I want. What do I do with the other one? Holy cow! Do I have both of them stuck together there? Nope, it was under the paper. No need to panic, people. Okay, so now I know that they're ready to go, and they're in the right positions. You know, they're not going to flip over on me. I don't know if you'll want to see me do more than one of these, but let me just show you attaching one so you know how this is going to go. You're going to adhere this in the center like the rest, and we're going to have to poke holes in this to get our to be able to get our handles in there. So I'm going to leave those as is. So I'm going to put the other 3 together, and then I'll come back, and I think by that point we probably will be ready to put everything together. So our next step is we're going to put together our little pocket that we're putting on the front of our purse, and I've rounded the corners of the bottom section so that it's ready to go. And I'm going to put that. And then I've rounded the corners on the bottom of the top half, and we want to make sure that it's lined up. Okay, so we're going to get 2 more of our little teeny tiny magnets. I've got like 1,000 in here. Now there's I think 100, but look how small they are. I just want to make sure that I put them down in the right position. I'm going to put that one, I don't know if you can see that, right near the edge. This is the one thing that you don't want to screw up, which direction the magnets are placed, because if you put them in wrong and they don't stick to each other, then you have a world of hurt, and you just will be so unhappy that you didn't do it right. So I got that one in there. I think that one's pretty good. I mean, it's in high enough that you can't really see it. I mean, you can, but you can't. And then this side, nothing was glued, so it actually is in better shape than the other one. And then I'll take these 2 apart. And I'm going to put some more wet glue down in here. That one might be too high. Let's make sure that one works. So I've got both of those. Now, when we chop out the middle of this portion, we're going to put this oval in here. I want to show you that. I have this oval punch. This is what she used. And I don't know if it's going to be great for me or not, but we're going to see what it looks like. If I place it kind of in the middle like that, and I'm even on both sides. Well, let me bottom line for you. That punch did not want to punch through all this paper, but it did punch part way through. So what that tells me is we can just use our Tim Holtz scissors and cut it the rest of the way. We always can improvise. Then we're going to take off of our backing off, and I'm going to show you the tricky part of this project, and that is how do you make it have a gap so that you can get your fingers in and out of it, and I'll show you how you do it. You kind of do this. You're going to do this with your fingers like that. You follow? And then you're going to push in just a little bit like that. And the same on this side, just a little bit. That way you have enough of a gap that people would be able to, you know, stick your finger in there like that. Okay, now, yeah, that was the other thing I forgot to do. I forgot to put our magnets underneath there again. I'll do this 3 or 4 more times before I really think I have it. Okay, that side is closed. Phew. Let's see if we can get this side peeled back up. This is why it's so important that you put your magnet in. See what I'm telling you? You're going to learn so many things from me about the things you don't want to do. And even though I remind myself so many times, I still do it wrong. Okay, now I need to put this one in. See if that's about the right spot. Alright, we have our outside pouch, and I have some stamps that I wanted to decorate it with, and I didn't put a ton of glue on there, so I'm going to just put some wet glue here and there on them just to hold it in place, because I wasn't exactly sure where I needed to put my glue. So our pouch is ready. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my pieces on the front and back of my cardboard, and I'm only going to do that with one of them because the other one, oh, I also have to distress this. The other one I'm going to have to put magnets on, and you know I'm going to screw that up if I don't tell myself about it. So let me distress these and stick them together, and then I'll be back when it's time to put everything together. Okay, here's my plan on how I'm going to show you how to get your magnets to stay where you want them to. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some tear tape. I'm going to put them right over my magnets, like that, okay? And I'm going to take the backing off. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to center this on my piece. I'm going to press down, and then hopefully the magnets will, the magnets don't want to do that. They just want to stay where they wanted to be with their buddy. Yeah, I think they're good. Okay. So I've already put my wet glue on this piece, and hopefully I'll get it to stay where I want it. So now we've got our front. I want to make sure that we always know where our front is, so I'm just going to do that so that we know it's the front of our book. And then I'm going to put the little, I don't know what you call those, oh, the places your handles will hang from, I guess we're going to call it. I'm going to put that one on the back because I don't adore it. It's kind of yucky looking. Too much distressing, if you know what I mean. I'm going to have Rich help me with punching holes in it because I have to use my crocodile, and it's one of those tools that sometimes I have good luck with it and sometimes I don't. So I'm hoping, I'm going to put that right there. I'm hoping that this time that the crocodile and I are friends, but I don't know if you know this, but sometimes that crocodile hates me. So now we're going to be punching holes. So we have to make sure that our holes are in the same places on both sides. I'll show you this one more time so you know what I'm talking about. See, there's where our holes have to go through. And I don't want to put it together. See, if I put it together, if I put these in here, it's going to be really tricky to punch the holes and do everything else. So I'm thinking that what I'll do instead is punch the holes first to this one on this side. Okay, there's a hole here and a hole here. This hole is bigger than this one, so that's the one I want to use. Now you can decide how far down you want your hole to be by moving this little bar. It'll move the placement of your hole. Oh, look how easy I did it. So the battery cut out when I was gluing this down, so I didn't realize I had missed it when, well, I didn't know the battery died before I adhered that this is that 1 inch wide by 6 inch long piece of paper, and I glued it to the bottom of that piece. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue these two pieces together after I get the backing off this. I should have taken the backing off before I started the camera again. Okay, I'm going to put a little bit of the wet glue on the very edges here and on the very bottom, just so if I glue it down in the wrong spot that we can move it a little bit if we have to. So I want to make sure that I line this up so it's in the exact same spot. So maybe the best way to do it would be to center it on that piece of cardstock that I need to attach it to. I think I'm going to take it back off and put some tear tape on that just so we're sure it'll stay there. And this way we'll be sure to get it to stay adhered. Okay. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my two pieces together. But here's what you need to do then. I'm going to use my pokey tool. Hopefully this will work. And you're going to shove down, making sure that your sides are attached. Make sure the bottom's good. It's looking pretty good. And I just need my ribbon, and I'm going to do maybe, I don't know, 15 inches, let's say. Doesn't matter what your ends look like, because you're not going to be showing them, that you're going to be knotting them. Then what I'm going to do, here's what worked for me the last time, and I know this is kind of stupid, but I made my knot, and I made kind of a small-ish knot. Because it's a chiffon or clear ribbon, you have this lightweight component to it, and it also is easy to push through the holes. You should be using 1/2 inch ribbon, so if you're using any kind of ribbon that's like maybe a cotton or something that's heavier weight, then you're going to have an issue with trying to get the get it through the holes. Here's what I did the last time. I know this is going to sound stupid, but this is what I did, and it worked. And so if it works, you know I'm going to do it. I knotted it before I put it in. I know you're thinking to yourself beforehand, why was she knotting those? I knotted it and I just poked it through like that, and then I was able to really control, like to make sure it was straight and not and I didn't have a big fold in it. I just poked that one down in there. Hold on, I gotta get that. My pokey tool is in it, and I want it in my knot. There we go. So there is one side. It's looking better. And then I'm going to just knot this one. Now, if you think your knot is going to come back through, and it might, you can always make your knot bigger. I just found this to be a much simpler way to get my knots done and poked through the hole. And if one of them is a little bit longer than the other one, you can fix that too. I've already put my tear tape on the back and my glue to keep it in place, and that will make sure. So there it is. I think it's adorable. Sherry, thank you so much for giving me the detailed instructions on how to make this purse, as well as that template. And if you're looking for this template, it's down below in the information section, and that is also where you're going to find the coupon codes for the Moldwork craft knife and the big box cutter. They're both great tools, as you saw in the video. Please give this a thumbs up and subscribe. Please tell your friends about me on social media because you know I love that. And thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.